Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited. Tonight we get Ashley in the raw. We have a beautiful topic, and I'm sure a lot of you will relate to this, mending the broken pieces of you. Ashley is fun, but very passionate, and she's very spiritual. So you guys are in for a treat. And without further ado, take it away, Ashley.
All right, take it away. I'm doing that. Okay. So, so actually, whenever I started this, I had this one idea in my head about what I was going to do. But then as I started to kind of go through it, it became this different thing. So I hope that you guys like it. Okay. So, I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm reading stuff because I'm a touch nervous, but not a lot, just a touch. We're actually going to call it excited. I'm a touch excited. Okay. So my name is Ashley Koertge. I am a passionate advocate of natural wellness, energy balancing with faith. And I love to have fun and laugh. And I am excellent at giving pep talks. I have a beautiful family with 7 kids. I'm married. I love outside and sunshine and ocean and water and movement and I love people. I just love people with my whole heart. So what this is about is kind of my journey to how I got to where I am right now. So the thing that I was missing, which I didn't realize when I was younger, was so I grew up knowing that I was a child of God and that I was always told I had a purpose and I had a divine nature, but honestly, I never really knew what that meant. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. You know what I mean? And so through this journey that I started, where it says June 8th, 2020, whenever I started this, I just had issues, and I'm just gonna kind of read through it. So a little more than 2 years ago, COVID hit, and my family, we were living in Midway, Utah. We were opening a new business in Park City, and we were feeling unsettled and afraid and not sure what was going to happen with the pandemic. So we decided to move back to Destin. Well, before I moved out to Park City, my daughter and Jade's daughter, they were best friends, and we were friendish. We were definitely friendish, but not super close. And so whenever I drove back, I listened to that book called The Secret, which if you haven't read The Secret, it is a beautiful place to start. And The Secret, when I read it, literally, that emoji with the brain explosion, that was me for realsies. And so I was like, what? And energy and the universe. And I'm like, what are these words? I'm learning things I never knew that I would learn. And I just I didn't even know any of that. And I guess the reason why I'm saying this is if you don't even know any of that, you need to know. And that's a good place to start. But as we drove to Destin, I listened to that whole book. I might have even listened to it again because it was a 3-day drive. And so I remember whenever Jade brought Emily over to see Lily, my daughter, I was like, oh my gosh, have you read that book called The Secret? And she was like, of course I have. You know what I mean? I'm Jade. Of course I have. And so she was like, oh, and I was telling her all this stuff. And she's like, yeah. And then she was like, would you like to come to my house for dinner? And I was like, of course I would. And so, so I went to her house and we talked about all kinds of stuff. And then she said, okay, I do these sessions. Would you like a session? And I did a session, and I was like, turns out this is amazing, because there was this whole stack of things I needed to work through, emotionally, from when I was all of the years old. And so as we did that, I realized she said she had a course. And so I was like, okay, I want to do this course. And so okay, so here comes to we see we have bullet point 1 and bullet point 2 and bullet point 3. Great story, Ash. Now what's the point? Okay, so the point of all of this is I didn't even realize it, but I was looking for something. And what that something was is actually remembering, is we actually know who we are, but we have forgotten. And the way that we have forgotten is we have covered ourselves in fear. And the way that we uncover ourselves is we allow faith back into our life, which for me, because I believe in Jesus Christ, it's through the atonement of Jesus Christ. And the way that I apply the atonement of Jesus Christ in my life is I do it through energy balancing. But the thing that which I'll just read this part, but the thing that was wonderful to me was it just really felt like I'd never really actually felt the love of the Savior in my life, because honestly I wouldn't receive it, because I didn't even realize that I felt so unspecial and so alone and like full of shame and hurt and fear, that I tried to make myself different and better and unique by separating myself, in the sense that I wanted to be like this different person, which led me to feel alone. Because whenever you are trying so hard to be special, you are really just separating yourself from the people who aren't special, because you need to stand out and be the focus or focal point. And as I separated myself, I felt more and more lonely, even though I could be surrounded by people. And so as I released all that fear and remembered honestly who I am as a divine child of God, I knew that I was special, and that nobody would ever be able to walk through this earthly life, through this universe, if you will, the path that I was going to, which made me important. Because the people that I don't know if you guys is this, but like I'll even be driving in the car and I'll think to myself, like, for some reason I was supposed to pass that car in the street. You know what I mean? Like, we all are so incredibly unique and special, that the journey that we are on is a thing that brings us together as we try and all remember who we are and allow ourselves to receive love more. And that's like honestly healing through the atonement. Okay, so fixing it. So that's what this is about, is mending those pieces. So so as I kind of started this, I looked around at my, I'm just my family, but I'm also going to call them my mess. I looked around at my mess and I was like, well, all dang, I accidentally broke every last one of y'all, and I'm sorry about that. I guess sucks for you, you know what I mean? And good luck with what you got going on. I'm going to try and fix it from here. And at that point, I actually felt really overwhelmed. Like, I looked at my daughter and she was a teenager, and I'm like, well, you know, I see her and she's this beautiful girl, but she doesn't know it, because she like looks in the mirror and hates herself. You know what I mean? And then I had a little small baby that I didn't realize that I was manipulating him. Like, here, if you eat this healthy food, I'll give you a dessert, as opposed to like teaching him, do you love your body? If you love your body, then and you want energy and like you want to care for yourself, that's the reason why we are doing this. And then like older sons that were, they're really like precious and beautiful and wonderful, but you know, not creating, which creating is actually the way that we are actually happy. So I'm just going to list some of my mess. So this is my mess before the message. Okay, so here's some of my mess. Actually, does anybody have any comments?
You're doing great.
All right, we're carrying on. Okay, so this was part of my mess. My teenagers were unhappy. They had low self-esteem. My older kids were sneaky and wanted to be on electronics all the time and sneaking around my back because I was so controlling. I was constantly monitoring everyone, checking that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, that they were happy, that they were entertained, that they were like, I was managing all of their emotions. I took that upon myself. I felt frustrated because I felt like I had to, so I homeschooled. So I felt like I had to educate everybody and make sure that they were doing everything exactly when they were supposed to be doing it, exactly the way that I said they were supposed to do it. So pretty much just as me being super controlling. I cooked everything, I cleaned everything. I pretty much ran the house mostly by myself. They did do the dishes, so there was that. I felt unappreciated, bitter, unhappy. I thought gaining weight, and I like gained and lost the same, like 15 pounds over and over. I saw the mess and the fear, and like that is just a small, like my relationship with my husband, which this is about to be me being vulnerable, but like I didn't even trust my husband to love me fully, unless I was perfect. So like if I wasn't the perfect weight, if I wasn't like creating food exactly, feeding him all the time, like the sex stuff, if I wasn't doing everything, I felt like I wasn't worthy of love. I literally did not trust him to love me just as I was, because I didn't love me as I was. And as I looked at all that, I was like, oh great, where do I even start? Like how do I fix this? And the good news is, so it was literally me on my knees, like, dear God, you know what I mean? Like, how do I fix this mess? Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, there's so many of them. How am I going to fix them all? And like the sweet, gentle whispering of the Spirit to me was, fix you, like fix you. Because we are energy, and energy is just the science word for spirit. Because we are that, like nothing at all can remain the same as we change. As we change, everything around us changes, even the air. Think about like right now with me waving my hands around as I'm talking, that's even different. Everything changes. As you change, everything around you changes, which is powerful. And which actually even freed me. I felt free there. Like the things that they were experiencing, like I didn't have to focus on them. I just needed to focus on me. And the other beautiful part is trust. I had to trust that I would change, and trust that I could be healed through the Savior just as they would be, and allow them their struggles, and allow them their trials, and allow them their natural consequences. And as I changed me, even the words that I spoke to them were different. I used to give very superficial compliments like, oh, you look so beautiful. Oh, that dress is so cute. But instead it's like, oh, I just love you for being you. Like, thank you for being a part of this family. You're so special and you're so important here. And oh, you're such a beautiful, beloved child of God. I just want to kiss you all over your face. You know what I mean? Just even my compliments changed. So like, I love you and you're good and you're perfect exactly as you are at this moment. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, I'm gonna keep on going. Okay, so triggers are your friends. So another word for like triggers are, or I call them lessons in love. So triggers are your friends. And so I'll just read this that I wrote. So triggers are your friends, and that's actually where I started. So whenever I started working with Jade and doing energy balancing, I actually didn't even know how to muscle test until I had been I had finished the course, and I was like 3 months, so like 6 months it took me to learn how to muscle test. But you're going to do faster than that. I just know it. Anyway, so I would be doing like life, and then something would just set me off. Like I would just all of a sudden be really upset about something, whether it's, or even just super irritated. And so I would kind of like ping, like poke that little trigger or that little thing, and I would write it in my like phone notes. And then the next morning I would sit down and I would go through it. So this is what it would sound like. I wrote it down. Okay. So it's actually a lot of why. So I'd say to myself, what was that? Like, what was that? Why was I upset about that? I would make a note and I would explore it in my journal. Expiration looks like my mother-in-law. So this is going to be my trigger example. My mother-in-law was rude and disrespectful to me, and my feelings were hurt, and I sassed her. It's something that actually happened. Why did I get upset? Okay, I would ask myself that. And then I would go to the fundamental needs that I was trying to expect. So for me, it would have been love. So I felt like she was judging me instead of loving me. Why do I need her to love me? Well, I'm looking for her approval. Why? Because I need her to validate me. Why am I looking to her for validation? Because I'm not confident in me. Why am I not confident in me? Because I don't feel firm in my identity and choices. Because I didn't make this choice with God. Or maybe I did, but I'm still firming up. Instead of checking in with the Lord, I was looking to her for validation. Well, why did I do this? Because it's an old habit. Can I break this? And yeah, I can break it. Is it generational? And I would look through the generations. And I would say, is there an oil for that? And there usually was. And how am I going to change this? How am I going to shift this for next time? And for that, it was usually like an oil or an affirmation or in clearing for generations. And it was this big why game. And I worked myself all the way through. Here we go. So whenever I would do that, it would usually be like, say that was like on a Friday, it would be like Saturday morning, and I would go through that. And I was always pretty good about like listening to my scriptures, but I didn't really sit down with my journal open and just pray to have my heart opened and to receive. But what I did was I would sit down and I would do that, and I would just feel better that day. I'd feel better that day. And then like a day would go by, and then I wouldn't do it the next day, and I would feel like crap. And then something would trigger me, and I'd do it the next day, and then I would be fine for that day and another day, but then I'd have a trigger and I'd feel like crap. And then I'd go through, and I'm like, well, so obviously since I feel better on these days that I'm journaling, why don't I just like do that all of the time? And so whenever I would do that all the time, I realized that that I needed to create a new pattern. And so whenever I did that, some days it would be, I would actually muscle test, because at that point I was muscle testing. So I would say like, do I need scriptures today, or do I need energy balancing with faith, or do I need a little bit of both? And oftentimes it was, I need a little bit of both. And so that started with creating like a routine for me. And like up at the top where it says, fill your cup first. It's actually not selfish. I had this false belief that like moms were martyrs. So I get up in the morning and it's like, I'm just like straight serving all day long. You know what I mean? Like I get up and I make sure everybody's fed, and then I'm cleaning the house, and then I'm making appointments, and I'm driving people to all these places. And then I get home and I'm like cleaning up some more, and then I'm preparing more food. And then like literally I lived this entire day. And although I was very busy and productive, I didn't, and I would listen to scriptures like in my earbuds and stuff like that. And that is good. That is good. But for me, it was not enough, because I wanted something more. I remember what it felt like whenever I released all of that negative energy, and I allowed the atonement to cleanse my heart. And so I wanted that, and I wanted that every day. And so I created a new routine. And my new routine, I tried to make it balanced. So I had something like I would do, like I get up and I immediately pray, and then from there I will do my supplements, because I would imagine that like I'm this piggy bank, and I'm putting like all these beautiful things inside of me, like gulp, gulp, gulp. And then after that I'd set my diffuser, because I'm like, okay, this is what I need this house to feel like today. And so I would like, my diffuser would like set the tone, like the smell and tone of my home that day. And then from there I would do my journaling, and my journaling like could look like scriptures and energy balancing with faith, or just something I was working on, or something I'm like, I feel like I need help with. And that's what, and then after that I would do some exercise. And so from there, that was my day. And I actually became okay with my house being messier, and okay with my kids squabbling and then figuring it out themselves, and okay with them like coming up and asking me to do something and saying like, okay, well, whenever I'm done here, I can help you with that. But for me, it was creating this boundary and allowing myself and believing that I was worth that, and it wasn't selfish. It was literally loving myself as a beloved daughter of God. Do you guys have any routines that you like or want to share?
So I just want to add to this. Ashley was a very, very good student, of God. And, I kind of put her, nudged her in the right direction, but she was very diligent. And she would text me and tell me what she learned and all the insights. And then I would share with her or confirm with her that I got that too. And she's on the right path. And, she evolved so quickly. So if you guys feel like, you've got so many broken pieces and you might feel overwhelmed of where to start, kind of like what Ashley said, just focus on you, and your energy or your spirit will tell you what to do first. And then it'll just peel a layer off at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like when I did start, it would be, okay, so I wear contacts. And so I would do this thing where I would get on my bed and I would say a prayer and I would leave my glasses on. My glasses are so irritating to me. Like they're so irritating because humidity and they slide and they get smudgy and because, we're oily. And it's like, it's literally, they're so frustrating to me, but I would leave them on. I would leave them on for like an hour as I'm like making cereal, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why am I doing that? Why don't I just get up and just put in my contacts and not be irritated? And I realized that it's because I wouldn't even give myself that amount. Like I would get up and I would like pee and then I would say a prayer and boom, I was off. You know what I mean? But like, why wouldn't I just do that one thing that made my life easier? I know that might sound small, but like putting my contacts in is really, it's small. It sounds like, yeah, why wouldn't you? But honestly, yes, go Jane, what you got?
No, I was just going to say, I hope you picked up what Ashley said, her triggers and her irritations and stuff. They're blessings. They're blessings to give you a clue of where to start. Yeah. So go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, just with the morning routine and stuff, I feel like when I wake up and I just go straight to the toilet and then I'm like looking after the dog and then preparing for the kids' lunch and all that, like I kind of get a bit scattered. But then the days where I'm like, okay, I wake up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, I do my thing, and I'm actually like, I'll take my time to brush my teeth and then I'll wash my face. And I'm kind of like, okay, I'm done in the bathroom. I'm not like here, there, and everywhere. And then I'll go to the kitchen and then I'll put on some hot water so that I can have warm water in the morning with lemon oil and drink my frankincense and oregano. I think, and then after I do all me, then I do the dog and the kids. And then I feel like, okay, like, oh, we still have time. Instead I'm just like, okay, I'll do the kids first, the dog first and everyone. And then if I have time, then I do me. And that's when I'm like, okay, I'm in this room, I'm in that room. And then I'm thinking, what am I supposed to be doing in this room? And I tend to get a bit scattered when I do that. So in general, I try to finish what I have to do in one room for myself first and then move on. Make sure that I drink, like I drink water in the morning. And when I don't, I'm like to my kids, oh my gosh, I forgot to like look after me, and they're like, silly mom, they know because I say to them, you look after yourself, like, take care of yourself, take care of your body. And they do the same. And this morning, my 6-year-old was like, okay, we don't need the bathroom anymore, Mom. You can have the VIP service now. There's 2 seats for you to choose from.
So I like cute. VIP service because you are a very important person.
Yeah.
Well, and I like how you said that, the scattered thing, because it's kind of like we have this purpose, but like we can just kind of get so distracted, because I do that too, especially if I go like on vacation or I'm away from home and then I come back and I'm just like sleep, like my sleep is different and just all these kind of different things to like reset the routine. Because to me, that is super helpful, is that routine in the morning. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be perfection every day. And sometimes you fall off and then you have to get back up and get back on. And that's like, ain't no thing. Like, don't beat yourself up about it. Just do it. You know what I mean? Like, allow yourself to be distracted for a minute and then get back to it.
What, like
Anybody
the
else?
mornings that I don't, the mornings that I haven't looked after myself, like I just like get really high strung when they interrupt me and be like, oh, can you do my hair? And I'm like, no, you can do your own hair. I need to get ready too, you know, and I'm snappy at them
Yeah.
because I'm like, why are you interrupting me when I could have just done me first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like it's like once you're satisfied, like once your cup is full, then you've got it to give out. But if your cup's empty, you know what I mean? Like you being the cup, if your cup's empty, then you're working on negative, and that's when like snappy sassy comes out from me. You know what I mean? Because I'm not feeling satisfied. So the other part is where it says seeking what your soul wants, create, do. Okay, so whenever you, let me see what's on the next slide. Okay, we're gonna go here. All right, so whenever, like we were talking about that morning routine, that has been really good for me. But let me see, I'm gonna go back for a second. Yeah, we're gonna stay here for a second. So that morning routine is really good, but like something else that I realized about myself is that like I look around, and so my house is different now that I have changed. I've been doing this for a little bit more than 2 years now, and my house is so different. I remember one time for my birthday, I was telling Jade, like, my house is so stressed. I'm like, you know, I'm like, "Ah, isn't your house so stressful?" And she's like, no, my house is very peaceful. And it is. Her house is very peaceful. And I was like, what must that be like? And I feel like that now that's my house. But like I feel like that we're all in this really good place now. And that's beautiful and that's good. But then from that space, I realized that that I need to help my kids create. And I'm actually gonna like do these later, talking about it. But something that is very important to me is helping them remember who they are. And I feel like right now in 2022 that there's this big push on people not knowing who they are. There's this kind of, it's almost like identity theft, but it's from like the destroyer, it's from Satan. You know what I mean? It's this place where you don't even know, you know, if you're male or female, to be honest. And so like for me, for my kids, like I want for them to know that because their Father in heaven is a creator, they are creators because they are children of their Father. And from there, you know, what does that mean? Well, we're supposed to be happy, okay? Because everybody wants to be happy, or everybody should want to be happy, because that is actually our natural state. And how do they do that? How do you even be happy? You know what I mean? And from there, well, you're happy when you create. Well, what should I even be creating? You know what I mean? And why should I create? And how do I create? And just all these different things that, which everybody has their own different, I guess, like pain points in their home. And so you look at that and you say, okay, this is the pain point. And I used to be that person. I'd be like, all right, everybody's watching too much TV. Nobody can watch TV till 4:30. That was an actual rule in my house. And so instead of being like, okay, well, so have you done all of these different things that are going to, you know, like, have you educated yourself? Because the glory of God is intelligence. Is your room clean? Is the house clean? Because that's how we feel peace. And peace is actually just another word for a different type of love. And just going over all the things that are actually going to make us happy. And if you want, like, if you want to sit around and play a video game or watch a show, I think that's great once you have satisfied those natural divine needs and desires that we have, so that you can be happy. And those are just some, like at my house. But you know, like, this is something that you can do all by yourself. You can get down on your knees, you can journal, but you can find these things out for yourself. Anybody have any questions? Or I'll go back. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Just to follow up with what you were saying about routine and how important it is. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I struggled for a good long while. My husband gets up and he does his thing and then goes to work. And I struggled with, well, if I get up and I go out there, then I'm probably going to like make his breakfast and make his lunch and do all this stuff. And it's like, I just get lost. So I recently just figured out that I still need to get up in the morning, and I need not to wait for him to go to work to function. So it made a huge difference, and part of that was just knowing that, like you said, that you're a child of God and that you have a purpose, and you don't have to wait for other people to be you, to be who and do your purpose.
Yeah. So for me, like, whenever I would sit down, like I actually even have this like TikTok video. I've only made like 2, but one is I'm sitting there and I have my journal open and my daughter walks up and she's holding her like homeschool math or something. And she trips and the math falls like right in my lap. And so I like pick it up and I give it to her. So I actually have these oils that help me. So if you guys have any that you like better, I'd love to hear them. The first one is Motivate. Does anybody know anything about Motivate oil?
I keep it by my bedside.
Do you? Why do you like it
I
there?
ran out. I've got to refill it. I've got to make a new touch for.
Yeah, I didn't. Do I have the touch? I think I do have the touch. So the thing, it's about motivation, but it's actually called an encouraging blend. And Jade says that, each oil has a little sermon, but I feel like Motivate's the like, yeah, you can. Yes, you can kind of oil. And I feel like that sometimes that's what I need. Sometimes I need, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Do you guys like this for any other reason?
It seems to quiet that, oh my gosh, it's another day. When I have all these plans, you start thinking that, and then you put a little bit of Motivate on it. It's like all that just went away, and you just get up.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first affirmation is, I will take actions today towards creating my happiness. So we are happy when we are doing what we are created to do. And yes, like we all have these different roles that we play, which are mother, wife, runner. Let's say, okay, what's another one? Grocery store worker. I don't know. Okay. But we all have all these different roles that we're doing, but who we are never changes. And it's always the same. And that's, you are a child of God. And that's just how it is. The next one I have is lemon eucalyptus. Does anybody like this one?
Yeah, I love its clean, earthy smell.
Yeah, so this used to be the irritation oil for me because I let every single thing affect me. I had like, if there could be like negative boundaries, I had like negative boundaries. Like if like not even no boundaries, but like 0 boundaries, that like everything affected me, everything. And so with that, also I felt like I needed to answer every request, if that makes any sense. And lemon eucalyptus, what's the oil, guys? That's the one that I used all the time.
Shielded space.
There we go. Shielded space. Thanks, Boo. Yeah. So, oh, hey, Keela. But yeah, so it's one of those oils that it's like just like you can't like your little barrier of energetic protection. Clove is also boundaries. For me, my morning routine was literally something, it took effort and it took tweaking, and it also took me being diligent with it. And then and that clove was super helpful. I would even diffuse this one. I actually love like the smell of it diffused. The next one is Mito 2 Max. Do you guys like this one? I love this one. This is like the pep in your step kind of thing. Whenever I actually take it every single morning. I shouldn't say that. I don't take it on like a Sunday when I want to take lots of naps. and Sunday's my nap day. So like on Sunday, I do not take Mito 2 Max, but on all of the other days I take it because it's this, like it just converts you to energy better. So like, I feel like that it's not like caffeine in the sense that it like jolts you. I feel like it's this like gentle, like keep your engine revved. That's what it feels like to me. Does anybody else like it for any other reason? Maybe.
I like it. I use it often. Yeah.
It says adopt a can-do attitude. And so that I actually take it just before I work out. Like I'll take it. I try and take it like I usually have a smoothie in the morning, and then I'll take this afterwards just before I'm about to go to the gym. Adaptive. Okay, that was like that was all that I
What?
wanted.
What was the one you were just talking about?
Mito 2 Max.
Can you? I have no, like, can you spell it or show me it?
Yeah. So Mito, like MITO, like mitochondria, the number 2, and then Max. It's a supplement. It's not an oil.
I put it in the chat too, Jenny.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And I love that one. I love that one. And so my husband, he likes it too. He still does. He likes yerba mate, which is just like a tea, and he likes that too. But we all like this. Adaptive. Now, my kids take the supplement, or I should say my husband takes the supplement. My kids take it. I will take it sometimes, but it's always the oil. That oil for me is like my lifeblood. It just helps me, you know, like whenever you're momming, you know what I mean? Like you're making a sandwich one minute and then you're cleaning up a poopy diaper the next minute. And then from there, you got to go to a meeting, you know what I mean? And so it just really helps you just move to all these things, to me, like gracefully. It helps my life flow better. Does anybody else like it for a different reason?
I kept getting adaptive, like through my energy balancing sessions, just kept getting adaptive.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out why. And I just kept trying to figure it out and figure it out and figure it out. And I finally realized that adaptive is not about me adapting to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's me adapting to being a child of God and listening and hearing and doing and developing that part of me, you know.
So good. That's
your
so
purpose,
good.
you know.
Yeah,
it's not about adapting to society. It's about adapting to, you know, that higher self, that creativity, that, and through that you find, you know, you hone in on your purpose. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's actually so
I kept getting it.
Yeah, or even like how you said, like as a child of God, because like sometimes like we are making all of these spiritual adjustments, if you will, and which are felt, not necessarily seen. And so it just really shows how helpful it is on every side, spiritually, physically. It's really, that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
No,
I just
Nora, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just had the thought, like for me, it's when I start feeling a little like scattered or, you know, irritated or like what is going on here.
Yeah.
I keep it with me all the time. It's in my purse and I'm just like, how do I need to adapt? How do I want to show up in this, you know?
Yeah.
And literally switching roles, like you said, from mommy role to teacher role to, you know, grandma role or whatever.
Yeah.
However, it's like, how do I want to show up? And just kind of smooths things out there.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Anybody else?
I was going to say, Nora brought up a good point that, you know, if you're still getting that oil over and over again, it's sort of like an opportunity for you to ask yourself different questions to understand the message that that oil is trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Investigate. That's what investigate. Yeah. Okay. So self-love. This was new for me because I was raised, I feel like I call it toxic humility. Actually, I'm sure I'm not the first person who said it, but toxic humility, where it's almost like you can't even receive a compliment. If somebody would say like, oh, I like your shirt, and I'd be like, oh, it was on sale, and like deflecting this thing, like not making it, not just being like, wow, thanks, I really appreciate that. Like just allow yourself to receive, because that's all a compliment is verbal love. You know what I mean? So like receive that verbal love and just take it and put it right in your heart. And so self-love, that's what we're doing. So LLV, so that's lifelong vitality. All right, who can tell me all the things in there? CRS, Omega,
BMZ.
yeah, the alpha.
BMZ.
Okay, and so to me, somebody, so Jay just did like that call last week, or was it the week before? But this is so good for me. Sometimes, and I would say rarely, like maybe like once on 100 days or something, I will miss it in the morning, and I'll be like, why am I completely wiped out and exhausted by like 2 p.m.? And then I'll just remember like, oh, for some reason I wasn't able to do that. And it really is just, I feel so supported by it. I feel like, okay, I don't know if you guys can see, but you know, we're all ladies here mostly. And so I like shaved my eyebrows right here. I totally had on Sunday a pretty deep cut right here. All right. Can you see it? I don't know. Anyway, but I like it with that cellular repair that your cells clean each other out, like clean. And so like it's gone. It was gone. I actually did have to wear it to church because I did cut that morning before church. So I was looking good in my dress with a cut in the middle between my eyes. But anyway, by the next day, like you could barely notice it. And here we are on Tuesday. And yeah, you can't really see it. You don't see it. And so anybody comments on Lifelong Vitality Pack?
Jamie.
I have a comment, but not on the LLV.
Okay.
I just thought it was really funny how you conveyed the whole compliment thing, because it was totally relatable when I was younger, because I just could not take a compliment because I just thought, no, I wasn't good enough for that, you know? And like, whether it was like what I wore or how I looked or anything like that, it was just like, there was always room for improvement.
Yes, like you're not seeing me clearly. Wipe your glasses. You're incorrect. Yeah.
I don't actually know why it was so difficult, so uncomfortable to get a compliment, but now it's just like, thanks.
Yeah. You're correct. You're absolutely correct.
Not like that, but like
hey, then you can start. You're absolutely correct. Tell me more. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, oh, thank you, you know. It's like night and day. It's just like so much easier to just accept it and give one back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that reciprocal. I love that too. I do love that. I'll be like, your eyes are so pretty. And they'll be like, oh, your eyes are so pretty. And I'll be like, oh, yes, they are. So are yours. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's so nice. It's because it's just verbal love. Like take it, like eat it up with a spoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why not?
Yeah. Why not? Okay, so this is something that I call it oil grazing. So like I'll have my fat pack of oils and I'll just put my hand over and I'll just pluck and just put it where I've these and then pluck and then just put it where I've these. When I was younger, or not younger, I guess I was younger. Just yesterday I was younger. But anyway, before I would have like second guessed, been like, do I need? But instead I just own it. Like you just trust it. This splash of this, splash of that. Like you're not doing it wrong unless it's a hot oil and it'll only burn you for 5 minutes and you'll be okay. But anyway, like just whatever it is, you know what I mean? Just oil graze and trust it. Like just trust it. Do you guys like to do that or have something else that you like?
Yes. Do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm adopting your name, oil grazing.
Oil graze, yeah. Like imagine like a little goat, like I'm eating some grass and it's this piece, top tap. Yeah, I don't know.
I like to use magnolia when I'm like, you know, just feel like I need some love, some compassion.
Yeah.
And sometimes bergamot, but in general, magnolia.
Yeah, I feel like I almost never use bergamot. You guys have to tell me what to use it for.
Self-acceptance.
Bergamot? Is bergamot self-acceptance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well now I know. I need to bathe in that. Okay, so grapefruit, so just any citrus, just all of the citrus. Grapefruit is my jam recently. I really love lime too, lemon. I like them all, but like those ones are so good. And I love telling people not to drink them in a plastic cup. And they'll be like, oh, why? And I'll say, oh, because it'll eat the insides. And they're like, oh, aren't you afraid that that's doing that to yourself? I was like, I really hope it is. I got candida and gut rot and all kinds of crap I wanted to eat through. So I really hope it is eating through all of that. And they're like, oh, what's candida? And I'm like, you're really asking the correct person. And then, you have your conversation. But anyway, drink all of your citrus water. This is self-love for sure for me. Do you guys like to drink anything else?
My kids make a cocktail of different citrus oils and then they shake it up and they're like, oh, look, I made a fizzy drink.
How exotic.
Yeah. Tangerine, lime, lemon. Yeah.
Peppermint, ginger,
Oh, peppermint's so good. Oh, I love ginger. Yeah.
ginger.
All the things.
No.
All the things.
I drink lemon with a couple drops of rosemary every day. I love that combination.
Huh. I have to try it. I'm out of rosemary currently, but I love rosemary too. I didn't realize, like, to me, it smells kind of similar to eucalyptus, which was surprising to me because I grew up with rosemary all around me, and it has kind of I'm sure it's because it's like an oil, like a concentrated oil. It smells so strong. I love it. Okay, so the next one is diffuser. So set the tone. So whenever you set the diffuser in your house, you're really setting the tone, like, because it's going to change the energy. It's going to clean the air. It literally, setting that diffuser in the morning is, for me, it's paramount. And my house is high action. Like, if you know energy types, like, I'm surrounded by 3s and 1s and also just kids with lots of opinions. And so, like, I'm diffusing Northern Escape and Serenity and Adaptive and Abode for all those germies. But you can do literally anything. You can do whatever you want but setting the diffuser in the morning is so wonderful for me. And it's really so easy. I use that big, huge humidifier one that's like this tall, and so and I fill it up and it diffuses for like 12 hours. It's fantastic. And so it's called, what's it called, guys? Is it called, I want to say Fawn, but I know that's wrong.
Go on.
What's it called? Is it Dawn? It is Dawn. It's not Fawn. It is Dawn. It's Dawn. And it's like, yes, not Fawn. Yes, Dawn. Okay. And so we're getting it. We're rhyming. We're getting it.
Oh, we should do one of those quizzes,
We should do a quiz.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what's the name of blah, blah, blah? Or like, what's the oil of
doTERRA trivia?
Yes. doTERRA trivia. Yes. That would be a fun one. Okay, and then Abode. Do you guys have anything else? Any blends that's like your daily jam? Do you guys have anything that you like?
Yes.
Okay.
Litzia.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Or sometimes pink pepper in the morning, just to wake everyone up.
Yeah, wake up.
I have a sleepy head and I have a high strung one. So I feel like kind of pick something that's in between.
Sure.
Litzia is for manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why I love it.
Yeah.
Always.
Kind of a cousin.
Is that one rare though? Is Litzia rare?
It's for sale in Australia, so it's not.
It is for sale in Australia.
Oh.
Well,
the other one is Air X that I diffuse.
Okay.
Like, I want that Litzia smell.
And whenever I'm diffusing, I oil race too. I'm like, I feel like this and this and this and this. And lately it's been oregano, so my house has been smelling spicy. And so, like, I'll just a little dabble, you know what I mean? Like, we're just having, it smells like a pizzeria in here. And so, like, but just whatever, I oil grace for that too. Just ting, 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 ting. Like, it doesn't have to be.
You know that we have so many citrus blends?
Yeah.
Like, there's like citrus bliss, citrus bloom, citrus twist. Yeah. I feel like when we're all feeling a bit powerless, then I would diffuse citrus twist.
I've never even smelled that one.
Yeah, it's like motivational, like power.
Okay.
That's a good one in the morning.
I've never smelled it. We'll have to. Who has it? Who in America has it? Anybody?
I have it.
You have it, Jane?
Mhm.
Bring it to Costa Rica. Okay. All right. So this is something that has really been good for me. Get to know you. So I would have said like, oh, I'm all these things or whatever, and they would have all been labels of things that I did. And that's definitely, those are things that are good. Like, you mean like I have done a lot of really good things, but they were never who I like actually am. And whenever I spend time in my journal, I feel very connected to God. And as I am asking him questions, and as I get to know him, I get to know me. And I didn't even know that that was a thing. But as I get to know God, I get to know me, because as his child, we are like our earthly parents, like we are very similar to our parents in different ways. And we can see these beautiful connections and similarities in our heavenly parents. And so, like, get to know you, do it on purpose. You know what I mean? Through scriptures, like there's so many ways, like through scriptures, through meditation and yoga, exercise, affirmations, play. I feel like I have my best ideas when I play. Rest, cry, dream, create, be patient with your pace. That is paramount also. Is, don't look around at so-and-so who's got some massive team, or at so-and-so who is like barely even sniffing oils once a week. You know what I mean? Like, don't look around and compare yourself, because that too is a distraction. That is a comparison, and that's not what love feels like. And so be patient with your pace, and know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, exactly when you're there. Like, literally, you can't ruin anything. Failure is an option. You literally can't ruin anything. To me, that is so much hope. Like, I can't break it. You know what I mean? And neither can you. And so for these Clary Calm, this one is, if I need help remembering anything, I go directly to Clary Calm. If I need help remembering anything, straight to Clary Calm. I love to sleep with Clary Calm because my room smells amazing, but also I have really beautiful dreams, and it's so peaceful for me. And I feel like that there's a lot of really powerful things that you can learn from your dreams, especially if you asked to understand them. Like, obviously I thought that or whatever, so can you help me understand that, God, why I would create that? Anybody else like Clary Calm? Wait, I'm thinking Clary Sage. Clary Sage is who I sleep with. Clary Calm is also very wonderful, but Clary Sage, I can't be like, I guess I can change it, but Clary Sage is what I was talking about. But also Clary Calm is very wonderful, especially if it's your lady time. If you're super crampy, it's because you haven't embraced your period as the gift that it is, this massive, beautiful relief. And so, anyway, anybody have any comments about Clary Calm or Clary Sage?
I think Clary Sage is so important to use regularly, just to check in and make sure that you're thinking clearly, that you're not wearing, some victim mentality glasses or negative glasses or whatever. Sometimes we don't know that we are, and it kind of clarifies and helps us see clearly there.
Yeah.
Amy?
Anybody else?
I put Clary Calm on my sink so that I could put it on twice a day.
That's a good idea.
So that I can be like balance my mood, I guess, which I feel like women need, especially when we have kids running around and you don't want to be crazy. But additionally, in the morning when I drive my kids to school, we do a little game where we list 3 things we like about ourselves or that we're good at.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're all done with our turns, we say one thing we like about each other.
That's a good thing.
So by the time I drop them off at school, they're feeling really good.
Yeah, that's a
The
beautiful
question is, how do you use Clary Sage?
Who?
Me?
Yeah, there's a question. Go ahead and share. How do you use it? I mean, like, do you put it on your temple?
I put Clary Calm on my lower ab. where my bladder is. And I do that twice a day, but if it's the time of the month, then I would do that and my ankles as well. And if I have a headache, I put it behind my neck. I usually get a headache like a week before, which is around now.
Yeah, I've
How's your edging?
the Clary sage on my third eye and just kind of lift it up whenever I need it. Yeah, and smell it. I put it in the diffuser and smell it.
I put it on my fingertips and I sit like this.
Put it on my mustache.
Ooh, on your stasheroo. Yeah. Okay, Spike Nerd. This is like when I'm having a hard time with my lesson of love. So this one is gratitude in all situations. When I'm like, dear Lord, why this? And you know, if it smells like feet, that you're not there yet. And if it smells like chocolatey fruitness, then you're getting there. And so that is for me, I'm like, why? Like, why and what for this? As I'm trying to go through and understand what it is. Anybody else have something that they use for like their daily trial, I guess, or something that's hard or you feel like is hard at that moment?
I've just been using Hawaiian sandalwood like all the time.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Kind of
my-
like brave. You
Brave?
know, like the little me inside of me to be brave and move on, you know,
Yeah.
from the past and be the strong you that you are as an adult.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use Tulsi though.
Tulsi, so Tulsi set is spiritual awakening and harmony. To me, this is almost like a sandalwood. Like Nora was just
It's
saying.
sweet though. It's one of my most favorites.
Yeah.
Like
And
I slather it all over me every day.
yeah. I really like it too. It's like, to me, it feels like a very like a spirit oil, like a spiritual oil. Do you feel like that too, Debbie?
Yes.
It
Yeah.
is. It's this like, integration. So sometimes you, like you said, Ashley, to help you understand your lesson in love when it's
Yeah.
very difficult and if you don't want it and you wish it was gone, but it's not gone because you haven't learned it. This helps you integrate it and just make connections, you know, get to the place where you're receiving a lot of flow, like divine flow and download, and you know, feeling like you're benefiting from this trial.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not getting it. Yeah.
I feel like it's a feminine oil
Mhm.
to me, like a feminine divine.
It has a little
oil.
spicy on it to me too. Like it's like yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. So when my friend married, she smelt it for the first time. She wanted to cry because she was like, Jay, this makes me think of my grandma right away. And she's like, I don't know why, because it's not the smell, it's not what her grandma smells like, but it's sort of like her mind just goes right there. And it's kind of like what you guys are saying, it's a feminine, and it's like a matriarchal wisdom that, you know, you just kind of get given this gift. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Tulsi also helps with breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Does it help with
Yeah.
breathing?
Yeah, it really helps with breathing. And we, of course, in India, it's tradition, like, you know, every house has a Tulsi plant.
Huh.
So, yeah, when I had COVID and even when I had the flu, I used to chew on those leaves. But, you know, the power of one drop of that Tulsi oil is so much more, like, you know, than you eat a whole bunch of leaves or whatever. Yeah.
Like more potent.
I've been putting a
Way
drop
more
on
potent.
my toothbrush. Yeah.
Yeah.
On your
And-
toothbrush? That's a cool idea.
With
Yes.
my On Guard toothpaste, I put a drop of Tulsi. It is
Yeah.
at the end, you kind of feel like your lips are
Like
clumpy.
tingling.
Debbie's obsessed.
And like, you know, even my dog was having a bit of a cough because it's like we're having heavy rains in Australia, and then sometimes he's out and he's wet. So in fact, like, I applied a drop of, like, not even a drop, like a pinprick with a little coconut oil on his, like, under his throat,
Yeah.
and he would sleep peacefully without, no
That is
coughing,
brilliant.
no, yeah.
That is brilliant. I didn't even, that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
super-
Maddie, we share the same thing. I think the Vietnamese people, a lot of them have at least one tulsi plant in their home. It's just like
Yeah.
a natural habit of people.
Huh.
I've seen it before growing up.
This, yeah, and they say it like, it's like India, they say it wards off evil, but I have a plant right in front of my home. It's like, the bees love it.
Huh.
So I'm happy that, I'm able to propagate more bees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad you're
it's helped,
propagating more
like,
bees.
and I can see,
Okay.
even the plants, the like pollination, you
Mm.
can see the other flowers are also blooming like so well, because I think of the bees around.
Yeah. That's really
Yeah, I
interesting.
had lavender,
Yeah.
but now they prefer the tulsi to the lavender.
They've got a fave.
Yeah.
Okay, so so I put tangerine on here, but also I feel like sunny citrus also. So joyful creativity. Sometimes this was actually something for me, is because I almost lost myself, I'd say, in the sense that because I was so busy serving everybody all the time, I just learned to be happy whenever somebody else was happy, or the thought of that. And so I almost didn't know all of the things that I liked. I actually went through this phase where, like, because we live in Orlando, we have access to like a lot of Disney parks. And so I'm like, do I like Magic Kingdom? Yes. Do I like Epcot? No. It turns out I don't like Epcot. I had to be like, all right, spirit self, you know what I mean? Like, what do I even really like? Like rediscovering myself. And then from that space, what do I even want to do? You know what I mean? Like, because one day my babies are all going to grow up and leave me, hopefully, and have productive lives and come to me all of the time. But you know what I mean? Like, live their lives as they should. What am I going to do? Am I just going to sit at home and be sad? No, I will not. Because of who I am as a child of God. What is my role? What is my divine role? How am I going to serve the world? Like, I'd never even thought about that. I knew that I felt happy whenever I was like serving and charitable and that sort of thing, and that is very good. But those are like small things that we can do from time to time. And so how can we create better? Like, and this is joyful creation. So how are we going to create joyfully? And then sunny citrus is just the first thing it says is sunny citrus, which is the oil of sunshine, encourages you to receive as much light as you can, and then be the bright beacon of light for those who are around you. And that's kind of the summation of this entire thing is, become that light and then spread it. You know what I mean? That's like the light under the bushel kind of thing that they talk about. Like, remember who you are and then remind everybody else, and be that bright beacon of hope that that you can change, and you can feel love, and you can have hope and become this beautiful bright beacon of light. Right. The end.
Yay. Ashley, you shared about dreaming as well. Once you find out who you are, you're able to have dreams, and like actual dreams, and then also dream up and design your life.
Yes.
Ashley,
Yeah.
that oil blend sounds like Ashley in a bottle.
Why, thank you. They were going to call it that, but they thought that it didn't really convey. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I actually, well, so what's interesting is, so I look like, this was me in 2020 right here. This was me in 2020, and this is me in 2022. And I feel like I look at my skin and I'm just like, between the vitamins, because people are like, wow, your skin's really nice. And I'm like, well, I take great vitamins. I have marvelous skincare, and I cry all of the time. and then they look at me like, oh, that's nice. But, like, I feel like to myself, like, I'm just I'm honestly happier now, like, than I have ever been in my entire life. And it's 100% allowing myself to receive love. Like, I would not have even taken that compliment before, Jamie. I would have been like, oh, shucks, this whole thing, you know what I mean? But like, I'm like, thank you so much. Like, thank you so much. Because I feel like I just feel, I allow myself to feel love, you know what I mean? And it feels good. And like, you want more, and then you want everybody else to feel it too. Which I was also looking at your picture because you're at the top for me, and you look very beautiful also, Jamie.
Oh, thank you. I would accept that
Good.
compliment. It's the new primer I've been using.
Well, that's a good one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. That was amazing. You guys are welcome to unmute yourself and share what you thought of it too.
It's really good. I feel like, I don't know, in this group, we've kind of like cycled together.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what you're talking about, because we're kind of like in the same awakening phase or whatever. You know?
Yeah. I feel like that too. Like, I used to tell Jade, I was like, I feel like you're always 2 days before me. I feel like you're always like 2 days ahead. And I'm like, hey. And she's like, yeah, I got that 2 days ago. And I'm like, oh. Wait.
Can I ask a random question?
Obviously, yes.
What does everyone use Palmarosa for?
I don't have Palmarosa.
I have so many.
You have
It's
so
yummy.
many?
Yeah.
How many?
I would perfume blends with that. Palmarosa and grapefruit together is delightful.
In the diffuser?
Well, a diffuser, or if you just want to make a personal blend. That's funny. I just looked at it. I just turned to it automatically. Activating charity. Activating charity. It's just, yeah, it's just really loving.
Because I was like,
It's another love oil.
Like, I had to have that, and then I'm like, I don't know how to use it.
Oh, just like you would use rose or geranium or a lot of those palmarosas.
Okay. They're kind of like a floral.
Yep. But it's also cleansing. I just read, like lemongrass too. So, well, which love is, right?
It.
Sorry?
Yeah, I say
I
diffusing.
diffuse it a lot here.
Do they sell it in Australia?
No, I think it was for a promotion or something, and I think I must have bought like from multiple accounts.
Okay.
I don't know.
I have a lady that's like used up her bottle and she's desperate for more.
Is she here or is she over there?
No, she's over here. Yeah, but it helps her surrender. That's what it is. Heart in your hand, palm Palmarosa. So it's surrendering your heart.
Palmarosa.
Palm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like, you want to surrender to God. You want to kind of do what he tells you to do. But here you are so stressed and worried about all of these things. You're like, but how do I let go? And then like do what you tell me to do. I know what you want me to do, but how do I, if I let go, everything's going to fall apart and everyone's going to fall apart. So Palmarosa kind of calms the heart down and just kind of lets you surrender all of that, put that on the altar, unattach, and then go and do your thing. And you find that when you do your thing, everyone else is okay and everyone grows and it just turns out to be fine. Yeah, but you're the one that was attached to everything. So if you are testing up for that, put it over your heart.
I'm not testing for it. I was just thinking it's been sitting there collecting dust. I'm just not sure what to do with it.
Yeah, because I have half a bottle. I'm like, I don't want to give it away. Yeah. So that's what it's about.
Because I have so much oils in stock and I'm like, I should really use the ones that's just been sitting there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, that's so fantastic. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for all the time that you put in this. And And I'm sure that as you were preparing this, it helps you kind of feel this gratitude of how much you've grown. I feel the message of hope for other people. So if you are new here and you feel like, you just, all your pieces are all over the place and maybe it's just so broken, and maybe you think you're beyond repair, how can you start? Where do you start? And it might be just, too much. Just have the hope that within a short time, your pieces will come together, and it's actually a blessing that you went through what you went through, because you will be more empathetic and a more powerful instrument to serve other people, and you'll find that you attract people that have that are in the situation that you were in, and you are the perfect person to serve them. So we find that we're grateful that we have been through those things. So it wasn't a bad thing. God consecrates all of that experience for good. Yeah. So awesome. Thank you so much again. I'm going to stop the recording now.